Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel for another video. It is currently 4 a.m. in the morning where I'm at, and I figured, hey, why not record a video? Nobody's gonna be interrupting me by calling me or anything like that, text messages, so we're all good to go. And I figured, hey, I got something, let's do something. Thank y'all so much for joining me. In today's video, we're gonna be talking about R&B beats, and I'm just gonna be deconstructing an instrumental that I made like yesterday, and just kind of break down the basics of how to make music like this. It's not hard, and it's not complicated. You don't have to make it complicated to get vibes like these in your instrumental. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. So as you heard in the beginning, the preview of the beat, this is an R&B style beat. Now, if you know anything about me and my channel, if you are new here, I use all stock things, sounds, VSTs and plugins. Every once in a while I might use an external one, but for the most part I use all FL Studio stock because I like to show you how you can get all of this in FL Studio using FL Studio, because a lot of people don't think that you can. And I don't know, the more you limit yourself, the more creative you can come. The more creative you can become with what you have. But also there's just so much in FL Studio that it's just untapped. People either just haven't checked it out or just don't know how to make the most of it. But I'm going to show you what I do with FL Studio stock sounds. So first thing first is this grand piano. And this grand piano, this is the closed grand, and it comes from the packs here. You do have this in your packs. If you have FL Studio, this should come with your packs. It's going to be under the packs, and you go to instruments, and then you go to keyboard. It's going to be this closed grand piano right here. All right, so what I did with this piano was I'm in the key of A minor, which is the exact same thing as C major, only 3 semitones down. They all use the white keys on the keyboard, so that's going to keep it very simple. Hopefully, it's keep it very simple for you. But I count it for you. I'll show you. We go down 3 semitones from C. 1, 2, 3. And we get to our A minor. I did an A minor chord, or A minor 7th chord, and that's just the A minor here. And then I added this G on top to make it a 7th, and we get this sound. The next note is going to be an E minor 7th chord. Same thing, building the E minor here, and then I'm adding that D on top to make it a 7th chord. The next chord is an F major 7th by adding that 7th tone, that E up at the top. And then this next chord is actually a dominant 7th chord, and I'll show you in just a minute how I built that out. But as you can see, it is using a note that is not in the key here. It's an E minor dominant chord. And then the next note is going to be a D minor over G. So D minor 7th chord here, and then I'm putting it over a G. And it sounds like this. Now you can put this over a D, and it's just gonna sound regular. But putting it over the G gave it a little bit more tension, and it just sounded better to me. And it's a thing. It's a thing. And then I just repeated it again. So I did the A minor 7, the E minor 7. Then I skipped the dominant 7, or I skipped the F here, and I went straight to the D minor 7th again, but this time it's over D instead of over G. And then I went back to that E minor dominant 7th chord. So to make that dominant 7th, the easiest way that I could think of it, trying to explain it to you, is basically take the 5th of the root chord, or the 1 chord, which is A minor. We go to the 5th, so we got A, C, which is the 3rd, E is the 5th. We'll slide that over, and then we'll skip 3 tones, 1, 2, 3, and we'll place a note here. We'll skip 2, 1, 2, place a note here, and then we'll skip 2 again, 1, 2, and we'll place a note here, and that's going to give us this dominant 7th chord. So I bring this down to octave. You see, it's the exact same chord there, and the rhythm here is very simple. I'm cutting it short, just. Same thing here, except for this chord is not here at the end anymore. And now you'll hear a bit of a filter on it, and I'll show you the processing that I did with this. So on the grand piano, or the closed grand piano, first thing I did was I added this parametric EQ to kind of clean up the low end and take out some of that high end. The next thing is this Fruity Love filter, and if you look back here on the actual playlist, if we look over here at the grand piano, you'll see these little waves inside. That's because I recorded this manually instead of doing an automation clip. I recorded these manually with the love filter. What I did was I chose the setting, simple low pass setting, and then I just went over here and pressed record and started moving this little sucker while it was recording, and that added that automation. And this is what it sounds like when you play it. You see that little thing moving, that little knob or whatever you call it, dot, whatever, it's moving. And that's what's giving us that kind of washed up kind of sound. And you could do that with a regular filter if you want to. You could do it with a simple triangle pass. That's a setting on here, but that one was just too intense for me. So I chose to just do it myself. After the love filter, I just threw on some reverb. The next thing on the list is the pad. Now this pad comes from Harmer, I do believe. Yes, Harmer. And I did a little bit of tweaking to the pad. I'm not going to go into exactly what I did, but I tweaked it a little bit. Basically, the main thing is to bring this attack down some so it's not so slow. And then I just copied those chords. So the same exact chords from the piano is in the pad. So we play this. And you will hear it has this little texture at the top. It sounds like birds or something chirping. You hear that at the top? That's why I chose this pad. It had that nice texture. The name of that pad, I do believe, is Pad Special. And I just did a little tweaking to it. I didn't do too much at all. And then after copying those chords, the only thing I did was I added parametric EQ to clean up the low and the high end. I wanted it to sound like it was kind of like in the background and kind of far away, but not too far away. And then after that, I put gross beat on, and I put it on the setting half beat gate. And I turned that attack way up so it's not hitting like so sharp, and I turned the release up as well. And that's what gives us that washing sound. So if I turn this off, it just... Now I turn it back on, you get the... And you can do this with automation clips. So if you don't have gross beat at all, or if you don't have gross beat available or unlocked, you can just use automation clips. Do the exact same thing. Just do a half beat gate or with the volume. After that, I did the lead. This is super soft. This actually comes from Harmer as well. I did a little bit of tweaking to it, but you can still find this lead in Harmer. I don't actually remember exactly what I did to it. I'm not going to lie to you. This is just like this little part here where I liked it because it kind of sounded like birds chirping, or it sounded like the bed squeaking. So I just kind of used some notes that are in the scale walking down. So that's C, B, A. And I put these little small... Some people call them glitch notes, but it's really a flam. That's really all it is. If you know anything about percussion, this is a flam. A grace note into a harder note is a flam. And so this little grace note is flam here, and then there's also another flam here. That's what we call them. And we get this sound. And it's the exact same thing. Like, it's nothing extravagant or anything like that. I'm doing the exact same thing here, and then I'm doing the exact same thing here and here. I literally only put a a fruity panamatic to move it left to right. Now you can do this with automation clips as well. So if you don't have fruity panamatic available or unlocked in your FL Studio, you can also just use automation and automate the pan on the actual plugin itself, or you can automate the pan on the actual mixer track itself. If you don't have this plugin, you do have automation clips, and I'm sure with FL Studio, every edition allows for automation clips. After that, we have this bass, and it's called default here. And the reason it's called default is because I actually created this bass in Harmless. I didn't give it a name. I just kind of saved the preset as what it is here. If you want to use this sound, just copy these settings, or you can wait till my new pack drops that has these subs and basses and 808s that are going to be dropping pretty soon. I'm still just getting a little bit more or a few more tweaks done and adding a few more subs to it. But this will also be available in there as a preset, as well as just a simple WAV file that you can just throw in and use in your instrumentals. What I did was I went into the bass here, and I'm simply just following the root notes and adding some notes in between. So we got the A, E, then we're playing a couple of slide notes in there, but we're on the F and then the E again. So we're landing on those notes. We're just adding a little bit of juice in between, or a little bit of run or riff in between. But this is what it sounds like. And with these slide notes is what's actually giving it that kind of feel where it's like it just gives it a different feel. I don't even know how to explain it to you, but you add these slide notes in there, it sounds like the note is sliding up and then back down. And I'm just kind of filling in some space, giving it a little bit of rhythm, and it's kind of what's holding the instrumental together, if you ask me, because there's not a real top melody. We got the lead doing a bit of a melody, and they almost are doing the exact same thing, kind of close as far as the walking down, but the bass is what's giving it the vibe. And I just kind of mixed it up on this last one. See, these are the exact same thing here, and then I kind of mixed it up on this last one, just give it a little extra something to make it different and less repetitive. The only thing that I have on the bass is going to be a parametric EQ dipping out some of this little bass low in here. It was just annoying. I have distortion, fast distortion, to kind of bring out some of that high end and to make it sound a little bit more aggressive than what it did originally. After that, I added a second bass, and you can also find this bass in Harmor as well. This is more like a West Coast kind of style bass. The CZ1000 is more of a West Coast kind of thing. I will say I did a few tweaks to it by turning this decay up some, and then I turned the sub up some in it. Other than that, I didn't do too much. Maybe turning the frequency down on it some, but I didn't do too much. If you want to copy these settings, like I said, go for it. This is just to kind of add a layer to the bass, and I'm adding this layer, but it's just following the root notes of the piano itself. There's nothing special there, but and the only processing I have on that is absolutely none. There's no processing on that at all. It's just how it sounds and basically out the box. That is all I did as far as the melody goes, but there's a little ear candy that I kind of want to play or kind of show you here. This wah wah is what I call it. It's just a guitar wah. Sounds like this. What I put on it was a parametric EQ, took out a lot of the lows, and then I got the delay on it, just kind of keep it going through. And then I just got some reverb as well to add it in a certain space. You can kind of hear it a little bit when it plays. So if we played the whole thing here. And I have it, instead of every other, I have it at the beginning of each one of them. The 808, I forgot to mention the 808, because the 808 is actually in the verse this time. But I have the loud kid right here. I don't have the 808 play very much through the song. It's only in part of the second half of the verse. But the loud kid is an 808 that I created. I was just telling y'all earlier in the video how I have a pack coming out pretty soon with the 808s and subs and basses. Well, this is one of the 808s that are in there. It's called the 808 Kids, and this is the loud kid. And I know he doesn't sound very loud in this because I actually have him turned down some, but the loud kid. So I'm following the pattern of the kick, but I'm following the scale of the piano, and it's just this. It sounds weird by itself. I'm not gonna lie to you. Very simple, very straight to the point. It's not very much going on there, but in that 808, I am doing a little bit. I'm doing quite a bit of processing. I'm cutting out that area here in the bass, and I'm kind of lowering some of the sub out of it as well. I added a little bit of distortion onto it to give that aggressiveness and to make it kind of stand out more. And then I just kind of boosted it here and pulled out more right here in this area, and I put a limiter on this because this is actually being side chained to the kick. Now I don't often do this, but I had such a hard kick on there, and the 808 itself actually hits pretty hard too, so I didn't want them clashing with each other, so I did side chain it. Now let's get into these drums. All of the drums that we hear in here today are going to be from my Jooce box kit. It is the first link in the description. If you do get it, it definitely helps support the channel. If you can't get it, that is okay. As long as you like and subscribe, maybe even drop a comment, that also helps support the channel, and that's absolutely free to support the channel. But the drums are very simple. The Jooce box snare, and it's just hidden on every two. No processing on the snare. The next thing is the clap, and the clap is hidden with the snare, but then I'm adding a couple of hits in between, just kind of like filler hits, and it sounds like. Very simple, and they play together. Then after that, I got the open hi-hat. The reason I chose the open hi-hat is because when you do certain notes like these, if you do certain notes like bring a note in all the way and then it plays the note right after it, it's going to cut it off. So it sounds like the 808, not the 808. It sounds like the hi-hat is actually being opened and closed. I'm doing a very simple pattern, and I'm just like dropping out some of the hits, some of them here, some of them here. The sauce is in the volume. So having them be, different and dynamic helps, but also having them go in and come back out like this, it also gives it it makes a big difference, and it makes a different type of bounce. And this is what it sounds like. My light went out, but that's okay. We got the other light here, so we'll keep with it. But anyway, as you can hear, it gives it a totally different bounce, totally different vibe when you do that, and I just copied it over. After that, we did the kick, and my kick is from the Jooce box kit. If you look right here, I got some kicks that are lower in volume, but that helps to emphasize the hit right after it. The only processing that I have on it is the parametric EQ boosting up. If you'll notice where I had my 808 and my sub and my bass, I had them lowered in this exact spot, but I have the kick heightened in this spot because I wanted it to kind of stand out here for the kick, but I didn't want those to clash, so that's why I ducked them in the bass, but I have it lifted or raised here, boosted here. And then after that, I put a fast distortion on to kind of give it that aggressive feel. And after that, I put another EQ, and this kind of boosts up in the high end and boosts a little bit more here, but it gives that kick the sound that I wanted to have. And then we got a couple of accent notes here. This accent is also from the Jooce box kit, and this is what it sounds like. And you hear that in your right headphone or your right speaker because I have that pan to the right on the mixer, because right after it, I have this perk that is also from the Jooce box kit, and it is panned to the left. Very simple, not much going on. It's just kind of filling in some of that space. And right below it, in like the verse and the beginning of the song, I have this percussion loop, and this is from no, this is mine. I know what happened. I drugged this in. At first I had a cymatics loop in there, but then I changed it. I was gonna say, I know this is mine, but this is a loop that you can find, a percussion loop that you can find in my Jooce box kit as well, and this is what it sounds like. It's got that little guitar scream in there. The only processing that is going on that is going to be a compressor, just kind of bringing those peaks closer to each other. I got a parametric EQ, cleaning it up, making it where it sounds kind of far away in the background. And then I have reverb. Then I got a couple of risers here. This riser is one of my risers. I actually just created this riser while I was making this beat, so it's going to be in the new pack. But this is what that riser sounds like. And I just reversed it here. It's the same exact riser, but it's just one going the other way. There's a guitar in the hook here. Now, if you know anything about me and what I do with guitars, I like to do a lot of pitch bending. But this is what the guitar sounds like. What I'm doing is I'm actually playing it on the piano here, so it is a little bit offbeat, but I did that on purpose. I kind of wanted to put it in the pocket. So what I did, if you don't know, I'll show you real quick. In most of my videos, I explain this. I'll go to this little knob, and I'll right-click, and I'll hit link to controller, and then I'll link it to the MIDI controller that I have, and I'm able to move the knob on my MIDI controller, and it's going to control the pitch on the actual direct wave. And that's all this is down here, is I'm just pitch bending throughout the entire thing, just kind of giving it the vibe or the sound that I want it to have. How I get my guitar to sound the way that it sounds is that I actually have the Fruity Hardcore on there. So we use the classical acoustic that comes from the packs here. If we go to guitars, We got the classical acoustic. I send that to the mixer, and then I throw on hardcore, which is a preset. The preset that I'm using is a preset that I created in hardcore called Hard Blues XL, and it's basically a spinoff of Hard Blues XS. Just kind of my own little version of it. And then after that, I threw on a parametric EQ just to kind of clean up some of that high end, take it out, because I didn't want it to sound too present, too in your face. But if you don't have hardcore available or unlocked in your FL Studio, you do have distortion, either blood overdrive or you have fast distortion. So you can use distortion for this portion. Then you have reverb already, reverb 2 or lux verb. And then you have the delay. You got like 3 different types of delays in FL Studio. So you can make this same exact kind of preset or same exact sound by using multiple plugins. This is just all done in one. The arrangement here, the part in the arrangement that I think stands out the most, it's going to be this part right here where the bass and the kick come back in. It's like a pickup. It brings the next part of the song to life. Instead of using a whole bunch of effects, I just took the end of the bass. So it's the very end of the bass. If I move this here, right over the end, it's the exact same thing here. And the same thing in the kick. I just cut out the end of it and I put it basically where it goes.
Damn, Juicy.
And it's basically like a pickup into the next part. But other than that, y'all, that's it for this beat. I didn't do much at all. It's very easy, very simple, and it doesn't take much to get a good sounding beat. It's a lot of space left in it for the artist if the artist wants to get on it or whatever. But yeah, it's not too many sounds going on. You don't have to make a whole bunch of different layers to it. Now, layering is good in some cases, but in this one, yeah, it's simple is best. You know what I'm saying? There's very few parts, but those parts all have moving parts. And since those parts are all moving, you know, you don't want to put too many things in there. You want to have a good balance. But anyway, that's it for this video. Once again, thank y'all so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. And if you do get a chance to get that Juicebox kit, make sure you get it. And also coming really, really soon, it's going to be the 808 Kids. I'll let you know when that is released. But in the meantime, y'all make some good music, you know, just make some good music. Make the music you like, make the music you love, and I'll see you in the next video.
Damn, Juicy.